Hello, I'm Denise Galoni. Welcome to today's episode of Helping Hands. My guests today are from Face to Face Healing. Face to Face Healing's mission is building support through a community of individuals dealing with cancer or conditions causing an altered self-image. They aim to promote healing through outreach, advocacy, interaction, activity, resources, and education. My guests are Karen Schuley, the founder and executive director of Face to Face Healing, and Linda Long, one of her board members. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Face-to-Face mission is building support through a community of individuals dealing with cancer or conditions causing an altered self-image. They aim to promote healing through outreach, advocacy, interaction, activity, resources, and education. My guests today are Karen Schuley. Karen is the founder, chair, executive director, and cancer survivor. Karen's journey started with a diagnosis of parotid gland cancer in May 2012. She was left emotionally, physically, and spiritually unable to adapt to the resulting disfigurement in the journey of survivorship. She experienced many changes and losses, causing her to distance herself from supportive family, friends, church, and the community. She asked, why did this happen to me, and how I move forward. This experience has given her a unique perspective on life. Her ultimate goal is to encourage individuals, their families, and healthcare professionals and educators to come together in an innovative healing and supportive network. Joining Karen is Linda Long. Linda is a board member on Face to Face Healing, and in January 2021, she was diagnosed with stage 2 invasive lobular carcinoma. After surgeries and months of chemotherapy, radiation, physical therapy, and now ongoing adjuvant treatment, she is currently cancer-free. During this time, she continued to be involved in many organizations, doing philanthropic work when possible. In 2022, she was a co-chair of the annual Pink Panther Bubble Ball, hosting over 400 people to raise money for women in Southwest Pennsylvania with a cancer diagnosis. Ladies, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Oh, I've known you both for years. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
So the whole mission of this show is to reach out to people that may need help or may not even know about face-to-face healing.
Right.
And you sent me some facts that were just surprising, Karen. 2 million new cancer cases are projected in 2024.
Correct.
There are 4 screenable cancers which are on the rise: breast, prostate, colorectal, and cervical. So that's why it's so important to get those annual screenings and checks.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Head and neck cancer amounts for 4% of all cancers. It used to be 1% in 2012. So get your annual dental exams and cleanings every 6 months.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So I know whenever I go to the dentist all the time, they always ask, do you want to do that cancer check? And it's an extra $10 or whatever it is. And I say yes, or sometimes I'll say no if I'm in a hurry. But that's really important.
It is. I mean, that wasn't what actually, diagnosed my cancer.
Right.
However, they didn't have those, like oral ID that actually has like a fluorescent light at that time. But that has been created since I've had cancer. So I definitely recommend, if your doctor doesn't do it, ask them about it, because that's really important to be able to diagnose anything with head and neck. I mean, you can look at, your tongue, they can look at your mucosa, like your teeth, everything to make sure everything looks okay. Because I went from having dental issues and then ended up quickly having the paralysis in my face and also excruciating pain. So it was very difficult diagnosis pathway. So, yeah.
And we don't think about that.
No.
I think we don't think about that at all. So I know the mission of Face-to-Face Healing is building support through a community of individuals dealing with cancer or conditions causing an altered self-image. They aim to promote healing through outreach, advocacy, interaction, activity, resources, and education.
Correct.
So let's go back, Karen. Since you're the founder of Face-to-Face Healing, and I know your story, but for everyone that's watching, how did this come about?
Back in 2012, I was struggling, was diagnosed with cancer, head and neck cancer, and I was going through treatment, so I had to have surgery, reconstructive surgery, chemo, radiation, and going through and doing the steps that the doctor encourages you to do. But also in that time frame, I was looking for support for myself. I mean, in my background as a nurse,
Sure, right.
also a case manager, so I kind of did my own case management throughout the process. But I was looking for support for myself. And when I was asking my doctors, like, hey, where do you send your patients? They're like, well, we don't know really where they go. So back in that time in 2012, there was nothing. And the only thing that I could find was something in the United Kingdom. So that was for head and neck cancer only.
Okay.
And then I started thinking about that because originally I was going to launch that in the United States via like a sister company, so to speak. But started talking to Louise Brown from the Shayside Hospital Foundation, who actually gave us our seed funding. And we were discussing it. And I thought, it's really more than, being a head and neck cancer survivor. It's really about that altered self-image that you actually have.
Right.
And that could be someone from burns or a car accident or really pretty much anything. And I identified when this was all going on, I was struggling, and then I actually identified with a veteran that was actually on TV because I'm in my bedroom, dark space.
Sure.
And then when I saw his commercial, I just felt like what he was saying, like it just clicked. And so it's for people with, prosthetic arms and legs. And, but the veterans, they do a great job supporting them.
do.
But us, I just felt there was a gap in care. And that's what case management does. You're looking for that bottleneck in the system. How do you make it better? And so that's when, I said, well, I didn't really want to start anything. I was looking for something to help me. But my doctor said, I think this would be good for you. Because I was very depressed.
Oh, sure.
Went from being an extrovert to an introvert, was afraid to go out of my house, having a hard time adapting to the facial, changes, and, being, not people not really seeing me as a person. They would actually not look at me in the eye, or they would, not speak to me. It was almost like I was an alien. So that was a struggle. And then I come to, just realize that once I get to a point that I'm okay with me, then it really doesn't matter what others see. And if they're not going to be a support or not going to be on board, with me and all of me, then they're not my person anyway. So I just kind of like very quickly learned that, you can't make everyone your person.
No, you can't.
So as much as you try, because I'm a people pleaser, but I just realized that, I have to let some certain things go. But it's just really trying to move forward and trying to help others. Like, even like with breast cancer, I mean, you have the scars and you have like the mastectomy and you're going through reconstruction, but your altered self-image as a woman is gone.
Right.
So pretty much, I mean, we do counseling. I do case management, help through the medical maze, but counseling to help them with their mindset and keep them in a positive mindset, because that actually helps in aid in their healing.
Yeah.
So.
And I know I cut your bios down a little bit because I wanted to talk about face-to-face healing.
Yeah.
But you're both nurses.
Yes, correct.
Both nurses. Right. So I would have to think that to be a nurse and go through something like this, it's even harder. Because you, as a lay person, okay, I know what the doctor's telling me, I'm Googling everything. But as a nurse, you may have seen people go through this journey, so you know what to expect. And I know, Linda, we've talked.
I actually, for almost 10 years, worked as an oncology research coordinator.
Okay.
So the people that I worked with were obviously cancer patients of all kinds, head and neck to everything. And it became quite difficult because by the time they reached me, they'd already failed multiple treatment regimens. So they were getting put on a clinical trial,
Right.
which is in many cases a last-ditch effort. So after years of doing this, I finally told my husband I just couldn't do it anymore because I kept losing my friends over and over and over and over, because I got to know them and I got to know their families.
Right.
And they knew about my family. I shared my kids' wedding pictures, and I mean,
Sure.
I knew them for years, some of them, and so it just became really, really difficult. So I knew how bad the journey could be. So when I received my diagnosis, I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. I was just like numb. I'm like, how could this happen?
How could this happen? Right? Yeah. Why me? How could this happen?
How could this happen?
Right.
I get my mammogram every year. I do what I'm supposed to do. I see my doctor. I do,
Right.
I eat healthy. I drink my water. I mean, I do everything that we're
Right.
told we're supposed to do.
And it still
I'm like,
happens.
how did this happen? So, and it's like anything that you're grieving. You go through all the stages
Sure.
of grieving, just like if you've lost someone, because you are losing something. You're losing part of yourself. You, in many cases, you're losing your ability to do the things you want to do,
Okay.
even if it's just temporarily. But it is a sense of loss, and like Karen said, the scars don't have to show
Right. Right.
for them to be there. It's I have a hard time looking at myself in the mirror when I get out of the shower because it's not pretty anymore. Not that it was, but yeah. So this organization is wonderful in helping people get through that with all the counseling and even before you get to that point, just navigating the whole medical
I'm
system.
sure.
I mean, now again, we were in the medical field, so we understood more. People that don't have any type of medical background
Right.
or anyone in their family that has a medical
Right.
background, it's extremely difficult for them to maneuver and manage all this. Fortunately, many of the hospitals have what they call nurse navigators or concierge or whatever they call them.
Right.
And helps them, but they're totally overworked.
Sure.
I mean, they're taking a whole practice and trying to help everybody, and obviously they just don't have the time to devote to each individual like they would like to, I'm sure.
Right.
But they just don't have the time to do that.
So you're celebrating 10 years face-to-face healing.
10 years this year, yes, and it's amazing because,
The journey.
well, one is I'm just grateful to be here because, the type of cancer I had was stage 4, so I didn't know if I was actually even going to be here. And my son at the time was 7, so he now just turned 20, so I'm very, very grateful to have that. But yeah, I mean, I started this out of just helping others, but then I found that was my secret to my healing. And then there you go. It's like, oh my gosh, I've been a survivor now for like 12 years. So it's crazy.
And so what do you have planned for 10 years? And 10 years is a long time.
Yeah, it is. So we're getting more people on the board,
And
which is very exciting.
And Linda joined the board?
Yes, absolutely. So we had other people join the board as well, and also our advisory board. And so we're looking at planning different events. We have part of Southwest Chamber. We actually are the nonprofit chosen to benefit. So that's February 21st. Then we have an event coming up in April with Nicole Lerda in Max Cole Salon. So we're actually in the process of planning that. That'll be, we'll make sure we actually add the information to our website, but that'll be on April the 26th of Friday. So we're excited about that. We have patient care packages we're trying to promote. We also have a Bella Fund. The Bella Fund.
Yeah, let's talk about the Bella Fund, because that was
Yeah.
going to be one of my
Yeah.
questions.
We also have Kelsey Baldy, who actually is from Hair Enhancements in Pittsburgh, and so she does wigs that are natural hair as opposed to synthetic, which is really nice. So that the Bella Fund will actually help support wigs. We also, looking at doing people with massages, because it's really about self-care too. And when you're going through treatment, and Linda could attest to this, you're going to your appointments, you're going to chemo, you're going to radiation, but it's really important to help with that self-care too, like being able to get massages. And sometimes, it's nipple tattooing to help with that, to help with their, self-worth. And we do like makeup classes, which Becca Carl, she has a boutique, but she's also a makeup artist, and so she can do makeup classes. So there's all kinds of different things to help them rebuild their self-esteem and realize that, you know, you're more than your face, you're more than your scars. That's really my motto, because,
Right.
you know, you are. If people could just see your heart and not the exterior, that would be the ideal.
I know. And with you, Lays, your heart, it's just this studio is filled.
Aw.
Thank
filled,
you.
filled. And I think, too, someone that hasn't gone through this, luckily I've never had to go through this, but we don't think about the other things like the wigs. When I found out the price of wigs,
Yeah.
They're expensive.
they're hundreds of dollars, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they are. I mean, they could be. I mean, if you get like a real wig, I mean, it can be very expensive. It could be like $500 to $1,000. It just depends, you know, what kind you get. And the thing I like about, you know, Kelsey and her team is that they go in, they help them with the process, they figure out like which wig is a good fit. Then they also style it, they cut it, you know, they do all that type of stuff, and they pamper them. I mean,
Right.
it's really about pampering the individual.
Sure.
Because you forget to pamper yourself, because you're just really surviving day to day, and you're not really thinking about all the other things. So being able to support them, so, you know, build them up, and help them through the whole process until they're to a point where then they can actually stand on their own. That's really what we try to do.
So, Linda, what made you decide to join the board of Face-to-Face Healing?
Well,
Besides this wonderful woman sitting
well,
here.
besides the obvious, of
Right.
course. Well, after I went through, you know, all my cancer treatment and everything, it does change your life. I mean, it clearly does. If
Sure.
it doesn't, there's something wrong with you. It just makes you look at the world differently. And at that point, I decided I wanted to get more involved in charities and, you know, in any way I could, whether it be volunteering
Give
or,
back.
or just any kind of support that I could give. Well, last summer, my dear friend Karen here asked me if I would consider being on the board, and I immediately jumped at it
Sure.
and said, well, of course, why wouldn't I? And because what she's doing means a lot to me, and it's very important work, and if there's any way that I can help, that's what I'm here for.
Right. And I think the counseling is so important too, because there's things that
It
you
is.
don't realize. I know, Linda, we talked a while ago, even the financial of going through something like this. You think, well, I have health insurance.
It does not cover the things that you, I mean, it does not cover like massage therapy. It does not cover like acupuncture. It does not cover Reiki. I mean, things
And you have
that
your
you really need.
co-insurance, and you
Yeah.
have your deductibles, and you
Right.
have, I mean, I know I worked for a counseling agency years and years ago, no, a life ago, and people went in bankruptcy having medical issues.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, I tell people a story. I was prescribed a medication that I will be on for probably 5 years. It's a pill. So this is one of the things I'm doing now. So I got the prescription. They called it into the pharmacy. I went to pick it up, and she says, "Okay, that'll be $1,200 and some dollars." And I looked at her and I said,
What?
"Excuse me?" And she goes, "Yeah, it's really expensive." And I'm like, "I have insurance." Did
Did you process it through my
I'm
insurance?
like, "Did you put it through my insurance?" And she goes, "Yeah, it was actually more before the insurance paid." And I'm like, I just stood there and I said, I can't afford that.
No, who can?
And so I left and I didn't
Right.
get my prescription.
Right.
And so I went home and I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't afford that.
No.
And so I called my insurance agent, who's also a friend, and she said, "Don't freak out," because of course I was freaking out.
Of course, you wouldn't, right.
So she
I
said,
need this medication to stay alive. You know,
Yeah.
and I want to be able
so I
to.
guess I'll just die. And so she goes, just relax, take it easy. So she did some research and she found a place where you can that they can help you with medications. So instead of $1,200, it's $87.
Wow.
Yeah.
And see, and that's the thing. And both of you said professional women, nurses, in a past life here, but there are people that don't understand any of this.
I mean, we all face financial toxicity at
Sure.
some point, whether it's the co-pays, co-insurance,
Right.
medications, like she said. I mean, all these different things. Sometimes if you have lymphedema, then you have to do lymphedema devices and those type of things. So there's so many different components to the cancer behind the scenes that are not covered by insurance, or they are covered at a certain point. But like, for example, me being a nurse and doing case management previously, I also know there's financial assistance with different,
Right.
medications. And so being able to reach out to the manufacturer and try to see about financial assistance programs. There's things out there like GoodRx. I mean, there's different things to help, and that's what I do.
Right.
That's what I use
Because
on
they're not always
myself.
advertised. You don't know about them.
No,
You
no.
don't know about them.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's community action or different things. Like I was having trouble with my mortgage, and I was here fighting for my life, and I was going to be pushed out on the street because they were going to foreclose on my house. So it's just so many different components, and then we're facing or battling just keeping alive,
Right.
and dealing with all that. Then you have all this extra stuff. So trying to help them through that. There's, if I cannot assist, or face-to-face cannot assist, I always try to provide, community resources to individuals so they actually, and connect them. I mean, we partner with other nonprofits, we partner with other, agencies, so
Right.
it really doesn't matter. So it's just trying to help and support the individual. And I call people my angels. Like, I would not have been able to make it through. Like, my parents were great. My son at the time was little, but he was my why. But angels came to me when I needed help. For
Right.
example, even Christmas, holiday gifts. I didn't have money to pay, to help get my son, presents for
Sure.
Christmas. So we also do that, for the holidays and being able to give back, and that's amazing in itself.
And some people don't have that support system.
Yeah.
So, Linda, people that are watching that may be experiencing something or maybe just received this news and not sure what to do, what advice would you give them?
Oh my gosh. Well, obviously, communicate with your doctor. Make sure that whoever your doctor is, you feel comfortable speaking to them frankly, and that they give you the answers you want. Not every doctor is for every person. We all have different personalities,
Right.
and so you need to find if the first person you go to doesn't click, then maybe you should go see somebody else, because this is important. I mean, this is your life
Right.
that you're talking about, and if you're not comfortable with your care team, it is a team.
And you are part of that team. You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
You're not.
and you have to be
Yeah.
able to talk to them and get the answers
Sure.
you need and do that type of thing. And anywhere that you can get support. Obviously, face-to-face healing is a wonderful, wonderful resource for people. And of course, there are many other charities and nonprofits and support groups and all that kind of thing. I think support is the biggest thing, not to isolate yourself. I believe some people, I don't know if they're ashamed or they don't want to appear weak, or I don't know what, but a lot of people keep it and don't tell anybody. Now, there's only so long you can get away with
Yeah,
that.
really.
But I believe, I mean, at least in my case, now I know we're all different, but if it wouldn't have been for my support system, I don't know how I would have gotten through this as well as I did.
Right.
And I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I had such a huge support system. Every day when I'd go out to the mail, I would have get well cards in there, little friendship cards, little thinking of you, and
And it means a lot, I'm sure.
does.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I honestly looked forward to when I would hear the mail truck. Oh, mail truck's here. I mean, because I literally for months.
Right.
I mean, I have a big box full of cards that I received
Wow.
while I was going through treatment, and after my surgery and everything. It was amazing, and I look at that now, and it
Yeah.
means so much.
Right. So what's next for Face-to-Face Healing? 10-year anniversary. You said of
yeah.
all these wonderful things going on.
Yeah, we're planning some fundraising events. We're hoping to plan another big event to be like our splash event, but we're definitely planning little events. I think it's really about trying to get money to actually support more people, those type of things. So, but yeah, I mean, we want to be able to provide people with wigs. We want to be able to provide, support groups, mental health counseling, because the services that we actually provide are either from grants or donations,
Right.
because to be able to provide free services.
Sure.
Right.
Because if you go through insurance, I mean, you know as well as I do, sometimes you have a cap, or sometimes, you know, it depends on what's going on. But my whole thought behind this was like, how can we help them and rebuild their lives? Find the things that, you know, like for me, I was, you know, working full time. I was, you know, had my son. I was going to school part time. So it's like, you know, parts of, when she's talking about grieving, parts of the life that you actually had are gone. So how do I rebuild so I'm not missing or have big voids in those parts of my life? So it's trying to do that, and then trying to help the individual do that as well. I mean, so like I tapped into poetry, which I hadn't done poetry for a while, so I did do that. And then just like starting with support groups and helping people and making calls and that type of thing. So like I just, you know, if anyone, whoever's listening, if you know, or you or someone you know actually has cancer, please reach out to us. We're able to help. We partner and collaborate with the healthcare providers because we want to be part of that team. We want them to know that, you know, we actually are there.
Right.
We want to help you through the whole process, not just you, but also your caregiver, because it's a ripple effect. So whoever is in your corner, and some people don't have anybody, so
Right.
that's really important to
Right.
actually for them to reach out, so we can at least have someone for support. And, you know, giving gift cards even for groceries, you know, those type of things. So there's something like we want to do like a gift card drive. We want to do our patient care packages and do like either provide money or different items for the patient care packages. We're looking at doing that. We did get a generous grant from Range Resources for $1,500, which we're going to build up on top of that, and we're going to probably be doing patient care packages here soon, like April, May, and then we'll be reaching out to them to help us because they want to volunteer and actually help with that. But being able to like build that community
Right.
to support cancer patients and reaching out, and I would love to be able to get sponsorships from like you know, from corporations or small businesses, and that way we can continue to do this on, you know. So we're just, you know, we're looking for doing a lot of stuff and trying to continue to reach more people, and so that's the thing I'm excited about. The fact we're still here 10 years later,
Right.
you know, being able and then growing and then building our board, and we, you know, wrote for a grant to do board development because we have new board members coming on. So we're at a lot of grants. Trying to bring on mental health counseling, marketing. Just
Lots going on.
A lot of different things.
lot of
But
things.
yes, it's just been really exciting to know that, you know, we're making a difference. And so we're actually, we had moved into space at CNX, and so we actually got a stipend for marketing.
Nice.
So we'll be working with TrueFit, and we're going to be able to do a video. So I'm really excited about that, and that will be, I think, in March. So yeah, so
stay tuned. Lots going on.
a lot's going on, and if you want to learn more, please reach out. We're happy to help. If you want to volunteer, if you're looking at, you know, getting services, like, yes, please reach out, and we're happy to connect you.
Ladies, thank you for being here today,
Absolutely, thank you.
for sharing your stories, talking about face-to-face healing. Oh, you're going to make me cry now. I see your eyes getting watery. And it just, if someone's watching, it would really help them. So thank you so much. And Karen, just for even founding something like face-to-face healing, something that was never around. Thank you for
Yes.
being here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, and this is my new mission,
Yes.
you know, helping others, so yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for watching today's episode of Helping Hands. I would like to thank my guests, Karen Schuley and Linda Long from Face-to-Face Healing. If you need Face-to-Face Healing's resources, counseling, or anything that was mentioned in this show, please feel free to reach out to them. Also, if you're able to, think about donating or volunteering to such a wonderful nonprofit. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.